We talked about it at our meeting last night and made a decision that has since been, possibly needs to be overridden for more stringent measures. Who can give us the most concise description of the situation that's happened in the last
Well,
month?
they have done some preliminary testing and called for more testing. They have originally told us they'd have the results at noon.
When you say
today.
they, Mickey, you're talking about?
Talking about KDHE.
Okay.
That Kathy Tucker Vogel is the section chief. However, they tell us this morning it's going to be 4 p.m. before they'll have the test at noon, but they won't have, tell us anything until 4 p.m. We also told you last night we could go 24 hours without any problems. However, even after the actions that we took last night, we're in the process of, if it continues like it is, losing positive pressure even before that 4 p.m. So even if we get good news at 4 p.m., all's well, we could be, have problems with our system. If we lose positive pressure, you're talking 5 days getting it back up. Minimum. And what the state's already planning on is 5 to 7 days of having our inlet shut down, minimum. 5 to 7 days of having our inlet shut down means that 5 to 7 days plus 5 days getting it back up, that's 12 days. So I think at this point, we should take all actions available to conserve water and use it only for life-sustaining actions. Hopefully, still at 4 p.m. or whatever time they've evaluated, if we get good news, then we can immediately alleviate that. But it is looking, the word that we're getting, we got some state people here to blame. But it looks that they're not giving us very optimistic. That first test, they didn't give us any details, but it doesn't sound like it was very optimistic. So I think we should now address everything to the maximum to conserve water and use it only for life-sustaining uses. And Terry's here. Terry, you want any further details to that?
I think you pretty much covered everything.
So the way we're going through our water supply now, we're gonna be out in a matter of a few hours unless we change something.
Yes,
And
if
so,
we don't start shutting people down.
and so then even if we get the go-ahead from the state at 4 o'clock that we can start pulling the water in again, we've already lost our system basically, and we're down for 5 days or.
It's not
Yeah,
exact science.
if we don't shut them down right now, we drop below 20 PSI in our system, then they automatically trigger a boil order.
Right.
Then, even if we get it back up, we have to sample those back T samples. It takes 5 days to run that sample before we get a result back. So, even if we have good water, we're sitting here for 5 days waiting on that to come back for them to say, okay, you can let people drink.
Mm-hmm.
As far as plans, we've already just established our distribution center at the ICC West, and the state's already working on getting us some trucks with bottled water for drinking purposes, and then some tankers, hopefully, so that we can have some water for people to get to flush their commodes and things. Anything you can add to that?
No. He's only here to blame, not to discuss.
There's a camera.
Now have we got his picture to put it out recently?
Are the tankers going to put water into the treatment center, or are they just gonna be to distribute water?
The tankers, we can't supply enough. It would take 250,000 gallons, according to your people, to make it so that the plant could operate. We cannot get 250,000 gallons here. Tankers are rare. I think that there was also discussion upstairs about using some fire department tankers for the non-potable water as well, because I'm not sure that we can get tankers here. They're working it, but I don't think know that will happen. I feel like the potable water, we're gonna be able to get 2 semis full a day for the next 3 days at least. And we'll bring that in. That's on its way. That's turned on. It probably won't get turned off because, so you may have so much extra water that you're giving it away if everything goes well and it goes back on. We'll try to turn it off and convert it if you do get your water back at 4 and everything's okay. But at least that first load will be here this afternoon, late this afternoon. And that's water from the FEMA distribution center in Texas.
you say water, you're talking about bottled water?
bottled water.
Okay.
Toilets can be flushed without using the domestic water system. If you have it in a container, you can pour it either in the tank or the bowl you create a siphon by overfilling the.
And that's what we're
level of
talking about,
draft
getting the non-potable
would
in for.
be better than
Better than
using
nothing.
potable water to flush a stool.
But if there's a chance we're gonna be able to keep the system running, assuming we get a clean bill of health from the state at 4 this afternoon, we've gotta do something now to severely restrict consumption.
Yes, we did.
Emergency use only, basically. Shut down businesses, shut down restaurants. I'm assuming that means turn off their meters.
If they
Shut
don't
'em off
wanna,
of the-
if they don't wanna comply, yes, we need to turn the meter on.
Okay.
Mickey, do we have some sort of procedure, some sort of ordinance, some sort of,
Yes.
declaration that
Yes, we were supposed to-
covers that totally as far as
Yes. we
legally
reviewed
what
that.
are the?
We reviewed that after the meeting last night, and we do, and, it's a resolution that we need you to,
The resolution doesn't cover this, the resolution just declares the water disaster. I thought we had a plan.
and they already approved the resolution.
Yeah, the resolution was adopted last night.
The reason for
Declare
this
the water
meeting is just to update you that we need to go to the maximum, on stage 3.
That's documented what the
Yes.
maximum is.
Yes.
Okay. So,
I also explained, I talked to one business owner, and he got the information, we were at stage 3, but he didn't know what stage 3 was.
see, that's.
So that's what we really need to explain in
So if we can,
detail.
and that's my point, Hunter, is,
Yeah.
yeah, what does all this mean?
Well, we-
In terms of like stage 3, so that people fully understand the
Well, what we-
situation, the emergency crisis that we're facing.
What we went to last night was all the heavy water users, and we also notified those restaurants and businesses that if we didn't get news today and quick enough, that we would be, shutting down all food service and all businesses that use water. At this point, we need to, and we told them that if we didn't get good news, this was coming. But we thought, as last night, that we could go 24 hours with that.
With what we had in our tanks.
Yes, and the, hydraulic system is not an exact science, and, with the way that, we continued last night to usage, if we don't do something to dramatically stop the use and just have it for emergency, life-sustaining uses only, such as, drinking water, people that, are dialysis, and that's life-sustaining usage. But anything that is not life-sustaining, we need to, eliminate.
Stop it right now.
Stop it
At
right
least for
now.
the next
With
5
the-
hours.
With the hope that we can get good news at 4 o'clock or
Right.
5 or midnight, and then lift it
Right.
and keep positive pressure.
Yeah. Which we don't have any sense whether that will happen.
No, and
But it's our
just,
only
just
hope that-
the nature of their first test and what little detail they haven't told us any detail, but it doesn't sound like it was they're very optimistic that we're
Yeah.
gonna get good news.
Well, from the color of the river, it didn't look very optimistic.
Oh, really?
Well, and these chemicals, according to, KDHE, these chemicals are not, a lot of them are not, they're subsurface. So the river could look great, and there's chemicals in it.
Will increasing the flow in the river help dilute it, or is?
Well, like opening up Elk City Reservoir.
Yeah.
They've already opened, they shut down up north, and, which, as far as they could, which is keeping as much of it above the low water dam, shut. And they have increased the flow out of Elk City, but they can't tell us if our water is safe to drink or not.
Till we get the
That's-
test back.
So the testing is being done at several locations up and down the river.
Right.
Like right at where our intake would be, is that
Yes.
correct?
They took several samples overnight, the EPA did, and took lab samples. They concentrated more on the part of the river where the flow of the chemical would have been last night versus because you didn't have to close your water line, your intake until 4 AM this morning. So at 4 AM this morning, they were already testing the results. The water here would not have been tested because the water that was here at 4 AM was, 5 miles farther upriver or 2 miles, But they tested that entire area where the chemical would have been to try to get the diffused rate with when the Fall River and the Verdigris blended together to make sure that it was accurate. But the EPA did that, the federal agencies tested that along with KDHE, and I I'm not a chemist, I'm an emergency manager. I'll take the blame, but I'm not versed enough on scientific terms to explain it. What I do know is that I was in Neodesha at 12:30 in the morning, and they loaded 4 vans full of coolers of samples and drove off in those vans to labs in Kansas City area and Tulsa, is what I heard. So, and I don't know if they took it to other labs as well, but they had lots of samples that they were taking. So I believe that the results that come back at noon and then are analyzed will be a good first look. What they're trying to determine as well is the pesticide in the river, because pesticide testing takes 48 hours, and they're trying to determine the risk of the pesticide in that water without being able to get an analysis of the pesticide, because they manufacture pesticide at that point.
So the pesticide is the chemical we're most concerned with?
One of many.
There are hundreds of chemicals that could potentially be in that water. They can test many of them. The pesticide itself is a longer test. They're trying to assess the risk and make sure it's safe to turn on the water system before they turn it on. And that's what that 4 o'clock deadline is. That's gonna take that long to analyze the data of all the chemicals that they did test for, and then analyze how, and use that data to make an interpretation of the risk for the pesticide, as I understand it.
Another thing that we've had a lot of people from Neodesha move here or temporarily, and we wouldn't recommend that they go, if you're looking for someplace to have Thanksgiving, don't go to Coffeyville, because Coffeyville is going to be just a few hours behind us. Go somewhere up the river before the chemicals got into it, looking for a place, an alternate place to have Thanksgiving.
So Neodesha's already shut down, and if we shut down, Coffeyville's gonna be right behind us essentially.
Yes, according to city manager, they're about 3 hours behind us. We stopped intake at 4, and they stopped at 7. And I think it takes longer before you get down there. They actually did it ahead of what we did.
So not being a chemist or anything like that, there's no treatment available chemical-wise?
That's part of that analysis. What I will tell you is that the state, both KDHE and KDM, all the way up through the governor's staff, are working and crunching numbers with the federal agencies and trying to make a solution that works for the people. They're looking at lots of different options, but without knowing what the chemical content is, they don't know if it's something that additional filtering can be done. The best case is that there are chemicals in there that are all filtered out by your plant, by your process at the plant. That's what we're hoping for. Adding additional chemicals at the plant, if there's something they can do, they'll come back with guidance to your water people about that. But that's really in the purview of KDHE, and I know KDHE has canceled a lot of vacations to have people working on that as well.
We have no good options, only bad and worse, I think.
I think the best option is to be proactive and what we can to curtail water usage now. The worst is to not do what we're doing and wait to see. As Terry explained, if the system gets below 20% or 20 PSI, you increase a lot of problems from dropping down farther.
Right. Then we're gonna be dealing with this for a week or so at least.
You know, if we got good news and it got below 20 PSI, then we're still in a 5-day crisis window here. So,
Phil, could you?
Question, and probably for the emergency manager, KDHE guy. Let's say that we have the best case scenario, the tests come back good, yet we've shut down Fall River, so the flow in Fall River is minimal. all of these compounds are sitting in the river up there, sort of belayed from coming on downstream at this point. Is there a plan at some point that the Corps would have to simply crank those dams open and flush it on down the way? Because that's, you're not going to get it out of the river any other way.
They've talked to the Corps is involved in this conversation as well. At the state EOC, there are about 40 people from different agencies working on finding a solution for this from the statewide aspect. So they're working with federal agencies, the Corps, FEMA, and different agencies and trying to find that. I don't know the answer to that question. I do know that they will be evaluating, but I simply can't tell. I could ask, but I don't think they can tell me the answer at this point either.
There's conversations going on about that, right?
Leave it to me to ask the question that can't be answered.
I'm here to
We do have personnel from our police and fire to be working with helping distribute water and get the plan together. We'll have releases and people will be getting potable water and non-potable water as quickly as we get the.
So it'll be in a parking lot at ICC West,
That's our main distribution.
and it'll be,
Planning on ICC West and here.
okay, that's, I mean,
Non-potable, we're working with rural fire, that'll be at ICC West. But as soon as we get the word here, we'll get all that set up and going.
But we're still hoping
We're still hoping for 4.
that if we can get people to stop using water immediately and get a clean bill of health at 4, get the go-ahead from the state
We're
at
good,
4,
we're good.
we can
Yeah.
recover without being without water for a week or multiple weeks. So, to me, this is an easy choice. This is
Yeah.
what the staff recommends. It seems like our only option.
I agree.
Right.
I agree.
To
I agree.
implement our most stringent water restrictions and ask everybody in the community to stop using all water they possibly can.
Is that covered in our resolution last night, Mickey? Do we need to reinforce it? Do we need to?
I don't think you've done the stage 3. We just wanted to get together so that we get the word out and inform the commission where we were.
So we use all media means being,
Yes.
social media, TV.
We'll contact Standard Motors,
I mean,
Cessna,
we'll
and
have
tell
folks
them
on
we
the
need them
phone
to shut
calling
down.
folks, telling them
Yes.
the situation we're in, and
And then we'll be talking again this afternoon, whether the emergency is over or just getting started.
Yeah.
so will we know by 4? Is that, I mean, we keep talking
I think
4.
Mickey said earlier, they shifted from 10 to noon, and now it's 4. I'd like to say science is an exact science, but it's not. And I know, working with KDHE on some other different projects over the years, they're not going to say, go ahead and turn it back on until they're sure that they're not risking the lives of everybody in this community. And you wouldn't want that anyway.
No.
So they're telling me in between 3 and 4. And that's what I think it will be, because I know that everybody up there, they're gonna do the best they can as quickly as they can, because they know, I've expressed to them exactly what happens at noon if you don't do this, and exactly what happens at 4, and how your system is impacted, and they're working to make sure that your system isn't impacted, but I honestly don't know. If there's something questionable that needs retesting, it could be another 8 hours easily.
Just like
So that makes what we're
yesterday, we
doing
had-
even more important.
We had notification at 4 o'clock, we got approval on of the press release that we did, and then at 5:30, about the time the commission's meeting started, they changed it, so, it's really a fluent situation. Anything can happen, and I wouldn't bet on 4 o'clock, but hopefully sometime before midnight, we'll.
We need to talk again. I mean, we need to know further information later today, one way or the other.
Well, on our releases, we probably should leave out a time just so that
Yeah.
people aren't anticipating and start at 4:30.
You just need to say until further
Reducing
notice.
water.
Anticipate,
Good
yeah, or
point.
until
Put
further.
it on the notice that it's until further
Yeah.
notice.
Mickey, are we communicating with rural water districts that you supply also?
I think, we did this morning, we talked.
I have been in contact with 3 of them, that's what I was doing when I came down here. I have one more to contact.
I have email that just came through, I'd like to read you, if you don't mind, just to have it official. This is from, Sandy Johnson, at the Kansas Division of Agriculture, and, Department of Ag. And, she sent me a copy of an email that they sent out to all your food establishments here in Independence. It said, "Dear food business operator, we've been notified the city of Independence, Kansas has declared a stage 3 water emergency, and the city is requesting everyone to conserve water until further notice." From the city's website, they quote your website, and then they say if testing does not come back satisfactory, usage will be limited to life-sustaining, blah, 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 and then they go into the procedures for a restaurant. So your restaurants have already been notified of their procedures. If you send people to restaurants to do this notification, you might wanna make sure that they've got this email, because it's very important to their plus, there's a lot of good, if you have an email that I can send this to,
Yeah.
so you can take it, I think this will be some good information for your public release.
Fantastic.
So I'll get an email from you afterwards and send that out, so you can maybe take that out when you go to other businesses as well.
So are we saying conserve, or are we saying to stop?
I'd point this one out, it was conserved.
That's what, are we?
Now we're saying
That
stop.
was,
Conserve?
that was
That's
after
after the meeting last
Stop.
night, what we have on the website was after what happened last night.
Just wanna make sure we're clear that it is stop.
Well, and I do think it would be a good idea to have a motion to that effect, just so we have it in the minutes and on the records that the commission wants to see those
That's why I asked.
Yeah, it'd be a good idea to do that.
I do think that that is wise.
So how exactly would we wanna word that?
A motion to stop, all non-life sustaining water use.
Will that be then issued in a resolution as an official document?
Well,
Will be
the
drawn
minutes
up?
are an official document, and you've already, did the resolution last night on the water emergency. This is just ramping up the stage.
So this is not asking, this is directing, basically, directing all Independence residents to stop using all water except for life-sustaining.
Life-sustaining. Okay.
Until further notice.
Until
Until further notice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Today.
So let's all go on
Fourth
that.
day today.
So who made that motion?
I would make that motion.
Second motion.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
And,
I got a card.
I got police chief, he's gonna send it to you.
So now, assuming we get bad news at 4 o'clock, I know city staff is already putting together their plans.
Shall we meet?
I don't know. Another meeting today?
You wanna schedule like another meeting,
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
like at 4:30, you
I
think we
we
would
should.
know something?
I think
5.
4:30 would be
Yeah.
safe.
See, I don't know,
Let's
I
not
mean,
say-
we can
let's say
leave that
later
up
than that.
to, we can leave that up to you.
Yeah, let's wait.
Cause I'll be
If
available
we get
all
good news
day.
prior to that, then we won't even need to have it, but tentatively, let's schedule one for, somewhere between 4 and 6 o'clock.
Mayor, you should have a meeting anyway. I don't care if it's good news or bad news, you need to get that information.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah,
I think
just
that's
have a
right.
meeting. Good point.
I,
Plan on having one between 4 and 6.
Okay.
I'm good with that. I thought about that earlier. I want people to know that we're doing everything we possibly can. And that the authorities that have to help us, because we're dependent
Yeah.
on, the expertise of others.
Yeah, and we can also update where we are on this.
So, I mean, would you guys be available at that time then?
We're here for you as to the duration, which we hope gets us home for Thanksgiving dinner. But if it doesn't, we're still here. So
Should we do the usual time, 5:30?
That's good.
Can I go to your house for Thanksgiving?
I'm here with my mom.
Okay.
We might
You
have
have
a-
it here, cause we're gonna be working out of here,
Yeah,
and
let's-
it's,
let's do it.
We may
staff's
have a
gonna be
crowd,
swamped.
though.
Need to shut down the Memorial Hall. You know, if we're gonna
Yeah.
ask businesses, then we need to
We
shut
do.
down all of our
There
buildings.
isn't anything
that are-
scheduled in there until Saturday, I believe, is what they
Well, we need to shut
Shut it.
down. That's
Mhm.
non, life sustaining.
Right, okay, good point.
So
So we'll meet here today at
Leave here
5:30.
at 5:30 unless it takes them longer, to get some results.
Or if we hear something sooner that we need.
You'll probably hear sooner than us, but we'll let the city know as soon as we hear.
But 5:30 is a good tentative.
Yeah, okay.
We can let the public know.
All right.
You know, we can always meet at 5:30 and then if nothing's here, at least we can come back.
Yeah, we can talk about what we talked about, what's being planned, and, the good news is the water would be on, and how long it's gonna take for us to get back up to full speed. And share the good news, if there's good news, and share bad news if there's bad news. We're not looking forward to bad news, though.
We can all be optimistic, but we
Yeah,
still need to prepare for the worst.
No, that's a Dale Carnegie theory. Plan for the
He
worst,
stole it from
anything.
me, stole it from me.
Plan for the worst, anything better you can accept. than for the worst.
Mayor, if I could, just the key points. Water's being shut down except for life-sustaining issues.
Right.
In the meantime, water's being available here, the potable water.
Potable water and other water will be available at ICC West.
ICC West.
Potable
Later-
water will be available here.
Later today, but
Yeah,
Later
not
today.
now.
we
It's
will
not
have to get that
available.
information out, it's not
Yeah.
here yet,
No, it's not here yet.
Okay.
It's on,
on its way.
en route.
En route from Denton, Texas.
And citizens can check the city website and social media for updates as to what's going on, and we'll communicate with the papers as well.
The tests are still being done as we speak, obviously.
Right. Anything else, Mickey,
I think that about covers it.
Kelly? Anything else, gentlemen? Any other questions, or?
So real water is affected.
The rural water that doesn't come from Big Hill. I mean, there's some,
Okay.
We have just about everything between here and the other shed, up the 75 quarter and everything that's 75 quarter south, almost to Oklahoma line. And then a little bit in between here and Coffeyville, so we serve about 13,000 people.
so if you're looking for alternate places to have Thanksgiving dinner, they can go to the Cherryvale or, I guess, Caney, or anywhere upstream.
Except the other side.
Yeah, well, on the other side.
Barb's house?
Party at Barb's house? What's
I'm not a
that?
big deal.
So you're inviting everybody to the party?
Come on out.
Thanksgiving dinner?
If she's not working.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are you telling the community meal, which is tomorrow at Egbert's, to not have it, is that what it's making, or?
Yes.
I mean, it's not.
It's not life sustaining.
It's not life sustaining, it's not gonna happen.
Wait, that's tomorrow, right? Right. So we.
Unless they want,
Right
they
now,
might, they
mentioned
might
though
choose to move
officially
it somewhere
they're
else
canceled until they have
and
further
have it.
notice.
They could go to Cherryvale and have it.
If they could get somewhere to keep us turkeys, they could move over there.
We'll hope for the best.
Yep.
Prepare for the worst. All right, anybody have anything else? All right, thanks
Move to
everyone.
adjourn.
Yes, move we adjourn. Second. All in favor?
Aye.